Happy tip day. Hey guys, I know that y'all need leads. Everybody needs leads, right? Some people pay for leads. I'm trying to give you some ways that you don't have to pay for. These things actually work. I've seen some people do this recently, just recently, and end up with leads that they are actually following through with and getting closings with. So this is really kind of cool. So I want to send you a challenge. This is a little bit different of an agent tip. I want to give you a challenge. Here's 5 things you can do this week that can get you some business. So, number one, I've got my notes here. Call 5 past clients. Don't call them up and ask if they're ready to sell. Call them up and just say, hey, I was just thinking about you. And I wanted to check in. How is everything with you? How's everything with your family? How's the house going? Everything good? And just start the conversation. Because the last time I actually did that with somebody, I ended up with a referral within a week and we've already closed. So that was great. That was one of my closings in early July. So do this, like it actually does work. So that's number one. I challenge you to do that. Call 5 past clients. Now, if you don't have past clients, 5 people that you used to work with. How about that? If you're a brand new agent and you're trying to find a way to do this, and you used to work in a hair salon or you used to work at a restaurant or corporate America, call 5 people you used to work with. You probably still have their phone numbers, right? And just say, hey, how's it going? I just was thinking about you and I figured I'd give you a call. How are you doing today? And where do you live exactly? Ask them some questions. And then, ask them what they're doing for work. They're going to ask you the same thing because that's where you connected originally. So when they ask you, yeah, so what are you doing again? I think you're doing real estate, right? Because you're on your social media. Hopefully they're on your social media and they know that about you. But if they don't, then, fill them in. And invite them to like your page, especially your business page, personal page, if you're not super close. So do that. Okay, so 5 phone calls, warm phone calls, right? Then number two, find one old lead. Go into your CRM. We have Bold Trail. Some of you have Lofty. If you have another CRM, go into your CRM and look for someone you have not connected with in over 6 months. So we just had somebody do this, I think a week ago, went through their CRM and made a bunch of phone calls. So I'm not going to say that every single phone call is going to get you a lead, but they did end up with a buyer. So if you go back through and you find one old lead and you call them or send a message that's personal from your phone that says, hey, I was going through some of my old contacts. And I realized I hadn't checked in with you in a while. How are things going? Are you still searching? What can I do to help? Okay. The goal is to start a conversation, not to sell them a house that you already have in your hand, right? It's to start a conversation, keep that conversation going. Most online leads that come into your CRM are not ready for 6 to 24 months. So keep that in mind. If it's been 6 months, they may have gone, off into somewhere else or with somebody else that was following up with them. But if not, then maybe you're going to come out of nowhere and end up with a lead. Okay, number 3. Preview one listing. Pick one listing in your market. So look at FMLS or Georgia MLS or Northeast Georgia MLS, whichever is in your market, Valley MLS, and pick one listing, preferably that's new or reduced or has been sitting for a while. Okay, so we know that there's a bunch of those right now. Spend 10 minutes learning the price, that how many days on market it is, and to try and memorize this. What makes it competitive in the market? I've got one for you if you want. Let me know. Um, what the seller has done to improve it and how it compares with other properties, so comps. All right, then ask yourself, who do I know that might be interested in this? Sit there and go through your CRM and look at their comments, the things that they've liked before. And then it may help you to just, become the agent who knows a lot about that house. Maybe you do a social media post on it. About, I just saw this house that's been sitting for a while and I don't understand why. It's been there on the market for X number of days. It's beautiful, like, and it's in this great location and it has this and it has that. And you should see the kitchen. And oh my gosh, the backyard is amazing. So maybe just you having a little conversation about it without even giving the address, you can spark some interest on your Instagram or on your Facebook, do a reel on it or something like that. And you might have some people comment, well, hey, can I see it? Can I take a look at the pictures at least? And now you've started conversations and you might have a new lead. Okay. All right. We're at number four. Number four, make one video that nobody asked for. All right, record something that's 30 to 60 seconds. Very short. You can do it and redo it and redo it and redo it until you're happy with it if that's what you want to do. Or just do it and be done. If you're afraid of what you're going to look like, just do it and be done. Answering one question your buyers or sellers actually ask. So, some examples. Should I sell my house before I put in an offer on a new one? And if so, where do I go in the meantime? Or if not, rather, where do I go in the meantime? And answer that question. Because right now, when you put a house on the market, and you put it on the market today, it could be months until it sells. It's not a good idea in this market right now, today, which is August 21st, 2026. It might sit for a while unless it's a little bit underpriced. Okay. Um, so is that a great idea to just go and throw an offer out right away as soon as your house is on the market? How about what does a seller really pay at closing? Because I just talked to a lady who had the wrong idea. She thought that she had to pay all the attorney fees. She thought that her costs were going to be over $20,000 um, on a house that she is selling. I was like, that's kind of strange. All right. How about, does a price reduction mean that the seller is desperate in this market? Is it? I don't think so right now. What happens after your offer is accepted in Georgia? Like, that's something nobody asked for, but they need to know because they don't know. They are misunderstanding that. Um, how about this one? Can a buyer lowball an offer and actually get it in this market today? Because you still have buyers trying to get things really underpriced, and sellers are having to make some concessions in this particular market right now. That could change in a month. But they can't lowball. I mean, if you have a $500,000 house, you can't make a $400,000 offer and then expect it to be looked at. So there's that. Or how about, why didn't the appraisal come back at the list price or at the sale price? That's a little bit more of a difficult conversation. But anyway, those are just some ideas. And I'm sure if you think about it, you can have some more. So this is, again, make one video, 30 to 60 seconds long. You're going to post it just one time. Maybe you post it across Instagram and Facebook. Maybe you do it in your story or reels. However you want to do it. Maybe you post it everywhere, TikTok, whatever. But one video, okay? It's 1 minute or a half a minute. You can do this. I know you can. And I remember Tyler telling me, don't worry about what you look like. Everybody looks at you. You're okay talking to people in public, aren't you? That's what they're seeing, right? So don't be overcritical of yourself. All right. And then the last one. Hopefully you have some active clients, but ask every active client one better question. Instead of just ending a question or ending a conversation with your buyer or seller with, well, let me know if you need anything. How about asking, what is the biggest thing you're concerned about right now? So let that sink in. What is the biggest thing you're concerned about right now? or worried, if you want to use that word. I don't like to use the word worried, but buyers or sellers, they're concerned about things that they may not voice to you. And with you just kind of giving an attitude like, well, let me know if you need anything. I'm here for you. I want to help, which is very, like you can tell you're genuine. You want to help them. But when you ask that specific thing, what is the biggest thing you're most concerned about right now? Now you get down to the real reason that they are either desperately going to look at 5 houses a week or a day, or a seller, I'm freaking out that my bank's going to need a payment that I can't make. And you don't even know that they're behind or that they're struggling financially. So these are things that can open up conversations that might help change the way that you are helping that client get to the result that they need. So just remember, you're not there just to manage the transaction. You're here to identify what the problem might be and to come up with the solution for them and to be their solution maker. All right. So, there's 5 different tips I want you to do, and you don't have to do all of them perfectly, but if you did all 5 of them this week, I think you would end up with some clients, or at least one. And it may not be this week that they become a client. Maybe you sign a buyer brokerage agreement or a listing agreement in a month. There's still a new client that you got from this. And if you do this repeatedly every week, it won't take too long. And you'll end up with leads that you don't have to pay 30 or 40% back on, right? If you do this consistently, I want you to be able to tell me how many conversations you had. So I'd be interested. So, like, if you are not on the MX1 agent community yet on Facebook, and you're one of the agents with it, Maximum One Community Realtors or Realty, please do join that. Ask to join if you haven't joined already. But if you're on that, we have a post that comes up every Friday that asks about your wins. So next week on Friday, I want you to tell me what your win was from doing this challenge. And if you did the challenge, I hope that you end up with fantastic conversations and that activity actually happens in your business. Fall is coming up or coming up towards the end of summer. August is usually a pretty good month. And then, September is maybe not as great. But the fall is usually hopping. So let's see what we can get accomplished and grow our businesses and grow, forward in our lives and in with our families. So, because I know, I mean, you've got to make money to be able to forge forward. And that's what I want to see you do, is do the best you can do for yourself. Okay. Good luck. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next week.